which we will also kind of go through. Dry bulk baskets, as can be seen, they are extremely volatile, and it's very interesting from Eduardo's presentation earlier, that kind of that state of denial, the E plus R equals O. When rates were $225,000 or even $230,000 on the Capesize, we were of course talking to a lot of ship owners, telling them, why don't you hedge your 2009 exposure? If I remember right, I think the rate was $125,000. And they all said, no way. Spot market is 220, and of course it's going to go even higher. And $125,000 for next year, we're not interested. My reply was, but you lock in 500% profit, basically, on doing that trade, assuming that you have a fairly new Capesize, $25,000 on break even, and they still said, no, not interested. And look what happened. Market collapsed completely. And then in December, January, we were talking to lots of the charterers, and they said, no, shipping is over now. It's going to be around $5,000 to $10,000 for the next 5 years. So there's no point to hedge anything. And look where we are now. Capesize is at $60,000. Panamax is coming up in the Atlantic. Might be a short spike, and it probably will be, but it's still volatile. And that's the most important thing to remember. Freight, yes, it might be at a new level. You might see it more between $10,000 and $50,000. But if it goes from 10 to 50, it's a massive difference. Volatility. There's been a lot of talk about volatility, about 80-90%. And monthly, if you look at the annualized monthly volatility, Capesize has actually hit 200%. Panamaxes hit 135%. Supramax 82%, and Handys 70%. So massively volatile. And FFAs, most important here is that FFAs are excellent instruments in reducing this exposure to volatility, but we need to know how to apply them, and we need to have a structure and a strategy in place, as was pointed out by the previous presenters. There's been a lot of bad press about FFAs. It is speculation. It's the axis of all evil. I mean, I heard even that FFAs were to blame for the whole financial downturn, someone told me. And I think, of course, that's pretty wrong. FFAs by trading, FFA trading by nature is speculation. That's definitely wrong. It's tied to a Baltic index, and that Baltic index is independent of the FFAs. The Baltic index is based on what physical brokers are reporting the next fixture will be on a specific route. Defaults are always a result of speculative trading. Well, it might be true whichever angle you see it, but that's the same in every market. Counterparty exposure is inevitable. That's not true. If you trade via a clearinghouse, the clearinghouse is your counterparty, and in order for the clearinghouse to be your counterparty, they would demand a margin for every trade. Speculators drive FFA market and or physical market. There's two schools of thoughts. I mean, the physical brokers, correct me if I'm wrong, but the physical brokers tend to look at the FFA market, and the FFA market looks at the physical market. I'm sure it works like that in any other market. They're very closely tied together. So, at least, I'm strongly believing that arguments like this, that everything is to blame on the FFAs, definitely is not true. And when I was mentioning cleared, how that actually works is that the clearinghouse takes on the counterparty. The clearinghouse takes on all the risk and becomes the counterparty for a trade. So rather than company A trades with company B, the clearinghouse goes in the middle, eliminating the counterparty risk. And what the clearinghouse does is it guarantees fulfillment of contractual obligations. They don't do that for free in the sense that they say, hey, you bought $100 million worth of freight and you sold $100 million worth of freight. They will have to take margins so that these contractual obligations can be fulfilled. And as I said, they take collateral both from the buyer and the seller, either directly or via a bank intermediary if you decide to trade via a bank. Resultantly, counterparty risk is eliminated, and it enables you for new trading opportunities, and it also enables anonymous trading if you don't want your name to be out there as to what you're doing, etc. It's been a lot of press again also about, you know, the default on the FFAs, all that problem. I just have to say that that's about the OTC contracts, not the cleared contracts. Capesize market went down 99+%. The clearinghouse didn't, neither NOS clearinghouse, which is part of the Emirates group, or London clearinghouse had any defaults in relation to that massive drop. OTC contracts, on the other hand, they work different in a sense that you enter into a contract some period in the future, and you say, okay, right, let's not exchange any payments before the contract actually has expired. So when the market went from $150,000, $200,000 down to $2,000, that massive chunk of payment came in the end, whereupon someone defaulted on. Clearinghouse, on the other hand, every day the losing party needed to deposit more money into the clearinghouse. If they failed to deposit money into the clearinghouse would liquidate the contract. The need to hedge. The previous speakers, both today and yesterday, have been pointing this out, and that's the whole, managing risk, the whole theme of this, these 2 days and the conference. Why the need to hedge? That's been pointed out in the previous presentation. But why to hedge with FFAs is simply because FFAs mirrors time charter contracts or voyage contracts, and you can use it to hedge for freight moving in the opposite direction of what you want. Adverse movements. The whole concept is, as hedging any other market, to take the opposite position. So by buying, I mean, if you're short of freight, you need to lock in freight in the future. You could be buying an FFA, hence neutralizing your risk of freight going up in the future. Very important. Previous presentation also pointed that out. As long as the derivative is of the same value and corresponding timing, same value, same size, so you don't overhedge or underhedge, your risk will be neutralized. So the rule of thumb, which I briefly pointed out earlier, if you long physical freight, like a CNF buyer, like a ship owner, you should sell the FFA as a hedge. If you're short physical freight, on the other hand, you should buy the FFA. There are 4 basic principles that you have to know before even venturing into the world of FFAs or any hedging. Is what is your underlying exposure? Are you long, short or neutral freight? And which period are you long, short or neutral freight for? Volume. What volume? If my exposure is close to P to A, Atlantic to from say